Welcome to the Vibes Podcast, your one-stop shop for all the latest tech news.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Vibes Podcast. Now, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody out there for their kind comments from the podcast that I did last week. And I'm going to be honest, it's great to be back and it's great to do this. Not only do I learn, you also learn with me, and obviously I'm going to share with you my opinions, my ideas, how I think the whole tech industry may be going. And most of all, for me, I think the most important thing is to give you all updates on what's happening. And this podcast, if you haven't come across it before, it's just basically covering tech news that has happened in the past week. So what has been going on in the past week? And, there has been a few interesting things that I'd like to share with you. Obviously, this podcast is on all of the podcasts, where they're hosted on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, but I also do upload these videos as well. So the podcast is also a video podcast which I put onto YouTube. So please do check that out, because from time to time I may show viewers certain things that you may not be able to see, obviously, if you're listening to it. So, let's go straight into it. Let's see what we can cover this week. And like I said, there's a few things that really caught my attention. Now I have my screen ready in front of me to go over a few things. So let's get straight into it. And the first thing I want to go straight into is the news of foldable phones. Now, there's no escaping it. It's one of those things that I believe everybody's going to end up having, and it's going to be the norm. Now, I know from my previous podcasts, I have spoken about foldable phones forever. I absolutely really like the technology, and I'm really excited to see where it will go. So, Honor have announced their first folding smartphone. And basically what they're saying is this smartphone is basically not going to have a crease in the middle. And for the viewers that are watching this on YouTube, I actually have my Samsung Fold with me, and I'm hoping I could show you the crease. So this is my phone. So it's a folding smartphone. And if I fold it out, and as you can see, I'm folding it out, and hopefully you should be able to see that crease. Now, for the viewers that are listening to it, there's literally a line going through the middle of the screen. It's not distracting once you're looking at the screen, because when you look on it, when you're looking at the screen dead on, you don't really see the crease at all. It's just like a full screen. But like I said, when it does catch an angle, you do see it. So Honor are now going to make a smartphone called the Magic V, very similar in the design of the Samsung Fold, where there isn't going to be a crease. And as similar to last week, what they've done is they've actually kind of bent the screen around the hinge or something clever with that. So when you fold it out, it's a flat screen, and if you catch any kind of light, it just looks flat. Now, I like using the stylus on my folding screen. I write with it all the time. I write my ideas. I even write the notes for this podcast. And the one question that I have is, obviously this particular phone doesn't do it. It doesn't support a stylus. But how will it be like when you start writing on these screens? And I think Samsung has kept that crease for a particular reason, and it's going to be interesting to see how Samsung do evolve. And they are looking to get better in that space. So, Honor unveiling its first ever foldable phone. It's not going to be long since other manufacturers are going to follow suit. Apple will eventually have something folding. You'll have Nokia. They make phones. They might make a folding phone. So it's definitely a space to look out for, but very interesting to see that there are more and more manufacturers looking at folding screens. I mean, hey, I was saying last week, we've got laptops that literally fold in half. It's just a massive screen that is folding in two. So definitely folding screen technology is one of those things that I think everybody should keep an eye out on. Obviously, it can be slightly pricey at the moment, but I do believe it's going to be the norm at some point. Can't really give it a date or time. I think there's still a few kinks to be worked out, but definitely interesting to see in that space. Now, the next news I wanted to cover is something that is very dear to me. I love listening to music, and I've had an opportunity to listen to Apple Music with its high quality audio, Amazon, but I am a Spotify user. I always have been, and the reason why I like Spotify is that it enables me to play it on literally all of the devices that I have. So be it my smart speakers, my watch, my phone, my TV, my Xbox, my PlayStation, you name it, I can play music. But the one thing which they have been lacking is the Spotify Hi-Fi, which is the high fidelity kind of sounding music. And there was an announcement made by Spotify last year that they were going to release this functionality by the end of last year, 2021. And it hasn't quite happened, so people are asking the question, where is it? Well, Spotify have now announced saying that it is going ahead, it is coming, but we haven't been actually given a date when it's going to happen. I think this is going to come sooner than what I think most people anticipate. I think they want to build up their library so that they have more hi-fi, high fidelity sound for listeners versus Apple, Amazon, even Tidal. You know, Tidal has been in that game for a long while. So, you know, if you're a Spotify user and you're looking out for that high quality music, it will come soon. It's just a case of being patient. Now, basically, I'm just going to kind of clarify what this means for people who may not quite get it. It's just basically getting a CD quality sound, which is pretty high up there. When it's listening to music, like you'll be able to hear, you know, more of the music. You can get yourself more immersed. And I think, you know, a lot of people like that because, you know, our earphones and our headphones are becoming a lot more complex. We can hear things better because of noise cancelling and noise cancellation. So definitely a space to look out for, something that I'm waiting on and have been waiting on for a while. But, you know, it is there. They haven't dropped the ball. It's going to take a while. Now, if you are an Apple Watch user, and I used to be an Apple Watch user, I converted to going to Android and to the Samsung ecosystem because it kind of fit my life a little bit better. But when I used to have an Apple Watch, I used to enjoy hailing an Uber cab from my watch. I didn't need my phone or anything else. Now, Uber have now made an announcement that you will not be able to hail an Uber cab from your watch anymore. You need to have your mobile phone with you and you have to use your Uber mobile app. This is a little bit of a shame, and it's probably showing where all of this is going. And it seems like the whole wearable thing is kind of wearing down a little bit. Doesn't mean people aren't wearing wearables as often. I'm not too sure, but maybe it's because it's not being used as often. Maybe people weren't using the phone, using their watch, I should say, to hail an Uber cab. I don't know. I used it a few times and I thought it was good, especially when my phone battery was dead after a night out. You know, a bit of a shame that there's a step backwards. Maybe this might come back. So if you're a listener or a viewer that has used their Uber watch to hail a cab or a taxi, you won't be able to do that anymore. So, you know, sad to see that functionality go, and probably, you know, we need to rethink on how wearables work. You know, maybe we do need the device with us, like a mobile phone. I tend to go without my mobile phone when I take my dog for a walk or where I go shopping, you know, and it kind of makes me think, you know, should I have my phone as a backup? Not too sure. But again, like I said, Uber no longer supporting the need to, no longer supporting the functionality where you can use your watch to do certain things. Now, NVIDIA Shields. NVIDIA Shields are little devices that is basically running Android. So you're able to plug this box into your TV. You can game on there. You can stream Netflix, Amazon Connect, Disney Plus. So if you don't have a smart TV, this is a good alternative to have. For a while, this particular technology had an older version of Android on their phone. Not on their phone, on their devices. When I think of Android, I always think of phones. And basically, they are now upgrading the operating system to Android 11. So it's going to have a newer interface. It's going to run smoother, run better. And the whole Android 11 experience on a TV, I have it on my Sony TV. It's great. I really like it. It's a really simple, easy to use interface. So if you do have one of the NVIDIA Shields, look out for it. Look out for the update. Please do updates. Now, when we're talking about updates, and I know I've mentioned this before as well, for any device that you have, if there is an update, please do update. And it's only for your own security, and it's only for performance gains. You know, if you find something's running slow and you run an update, it might be quicker. But it's always important to run it every so often. And my rule of thumb is to check for updates once a month. And that's what I do. I ensure all of my products are working fine. Yes, some updates can be bad and it may make the product worse. But, you know, these manufacturers and developers capture that and they re-release a newer version to make sure that everything's working. But if you have one of these NVIDIA Shields that you use, that you plug into your TV to watch Netflix or, you know, YouTube or anything of the sort, please do update your boxes because, like I said, there is a new version that is now out. And talking about streaming, Netflix, I really enjoyed being a Formula One fan, watching the Formula One Drive to Survive, and it was a great show showing how things were like behind the scenes. Now, it seems like Netflix have given the green light to have a tennis docu-series. And rumor has it, it might actually cover the whole saga that we're getting with Djokovic. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. I think as a sport, I think this is another sport that people don't really understand how much work goes behind it sometimes. So it's great to see that they're having something behind the scenes. And I'm really excited for this. I really enjoyed the Formula One, being a Formula One fan. But, you know, to have something that will cover tennis, and they're also saying golf might be one of those things as well. It's definitely going to be interesting. So if you were a fan of that, please do look out for this docuseries. They haven't given it a name yet, but as soon as I find out, I will let you all know. So those for the sports fan, tennis fans, I know I've got someone I work with who loves tennis, and I'm sure they're going to be all over it. Now, talking about Netflix, they've made an announcement for the US, and from my research in Canada as well, the prices are going to go up basically $1 to $2 per month. So if you're paying something like, let's say, $10, and I'm not too sure about the pricing in the US, you'll end up paying $11 or $12. So just something to look out for. I know that during this pandemic, you know, some certain prices have gone up and stuff, but I just wanted to let you know that Netflix are raising their prices, and I imagine this price hike will happen globally as well. So to all the listeners in the UK, India, Israel, everywhere, you know, look out for that. You know, maybe you might look around and think, you know, maybe I want to change the actual subscription that I have because, you know, I'm not using it on X amount of devices, or I don't care about HD quality or 4K quality. We'll see, but prices are going up. I think Netflix still make amazing content overall. And do I think it's worth its price? I definitely do. And Disney Plus, I think are catching up. They're becoming stronger and stronger. I really like the content on Disney Plus, but let's see how it goes. But yeah, prices are going up, so please do look out for that. Now, one thing that caught my eye is that Facebook or Meta or whatever they want to call themselves are working on a mechanical eyeball. I just come across this literally before I started recording this. And basically, they're spending billions of dollars to basically make this eyeball in a robot that, you know, is similar to a human eye and is able to mimic what the human eye does. And it's quite interesting to see what they're doing there. For me, where can this technology go? I don't know what they're going to do with this precisely, but for me, if I take it outside of what Facebook or Meta or whatever they call themselves are doing, I think that this could be good when it comes to the whole medical side, where, you know, will we be able to give someone who might be partially sighted full vision again? Could we give a blind person vision? I don't know. There's so many questions. It's so very early on, but it's interesting to see a company like Meta, Facebook, are working on this, and it will be interesting to see what they're going to do with it. You know, where is this going? What are they planning to do with it all? Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I think, like I said, technology should be, for me, here to enhance human life. And if this is something that they can do to help people give vision again, or give them clearer vision, or an alternative for vision, I'm all up for it. Like I said, it's very, very early days. And as soon as I find out anything more on it, I will let you all know. Now, I'm going to go to all the gamers out there, and I'm going to kick this off with Sony. Sony have now released their blue, pink, and purple PS5 controllers. I guess, you know, having colors is a good thing. I know for a lot of people, they still aren't able to get hold of PlayStation 5s. But when you do, you can have a different color controller. And I think for me, if, you know, these colors are your favorite colors, you know, you can pick them up. Or what most people tend to do is you can have different colors for different players. So you can say player 1 is blue and player 2 is pink and player 3 is purple. Or it could be just something to really, you know, showcase your personality. But definitely interesting to see that PlayStation are releasing more controllers in different colors. I have one in black because I prefer having a black controller over a white controller. But yeah, there's more to purchase in terms of colors. So, you know, if you're a PlayStation 5 owner and you want a different color controller, go for it. The next update that I have is that Microsoft are working on frame rate boosts on Xbox Series X on more games. So basically what it is you might have games that run at 30 frames per second or 60. And basically what it is how often a screen refreshes when you're playing a game. And basically higher frame rates just give you a better experience overall. It could be a difference of you making a corner or missing a corner. And they want to bring this for more games where, you know, games that were at a lower frame rate to play higher. It just brings a lot more smoothness when you're playing, essentially, for any of you who might be thinking, what does this mean? So for gamers, you know, they like to have their games to run smooth. They want it to be accurate. And the only way that you're really going to get that smoothness is with higher amount of frame rates, so how often the screen refreshes. So yeah, there are more games that are going to have this, and you know, let's see how it goes. It's obviously a good thing with the hardware that you have an Xbox Series X and Series S is quite powerful, and if you can utilize older games that you enjoy playing to work better, you know, that's always a good thing. And I've always been a fan of making something existing work better than trying to make it again and charging you for it, which I'm sorry to say Sony have a bad habit of doing with their PlayStation. Their PlayStation games, they're like, hey, we've got this game, it's higher frame rates, it's at 4K, but you got to pay $40 or $50 again, or pounds, or however much it is. And that really annoys me. Like, you own something and then you got to pay for it again. Microsoft have been, I'm not saying that they don't do it, but it's very rare that you tend to see that. They just give you an upgrade saying, here we go, here's an upgrade. And I think this is why more people are leaning towards Microsoft in a gaming sense, because this just seems to be more value for money. And I really hope Sony do change that stance, and I'm sure they will do. It's probably just going to take them a little bit of time to get that. Now, talking about Xboxes, Microsoft is no longer going to make the Xbox One consoles. So I want to kind of clarify this. So Microsoft have released 2 newer consoles, and they are called the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, right? Those are the newer ones, the more powerful ones. The older ones were called Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X. Still great consoles, but they're going to stop making those consoles, and they're going to focus on the newer ones. Now, if you're thinking it's going to cost a lot of money, the Xbox Series S is smaller and cheaper. So I think there's a good reason why they adopted for 2 consoles here. One that might be less powerful, but again, if you're looking to get hold of the Xbox One console because you want to put it as part of your collection, or if you just prefer that, then I suggest you go out and buy that ASAP, because once they're off the shelves, they are off the shelves. So an announcement from Microsoft, it kind of makes sense now. We've got this chip shortages, people are buying the newer items, so Microsoft are no longer making that anymore. And still keeping on the theme with Microsoft have Microsoft Teams. You use it at work for some individuals. You use it for meetings. It's primarily used, it's the equivalent to Zoom, Slack. It's kind of built in. And basically, on the Android version, they had a walkie-talkie feature, which is basically you press a walkie-talkie, you leave a message, and it just plays out. What Microsoft have now done is they've now extended this walkie-talkie feature to everybody. So it's on Android, it's on iOS, it works on all kinds of devices. So really excited to see this walkie-talkie feature. One thing I am going to look into is if this is enabled on normal Teams account, because on Windows 11 you're able to have it connected to your normal Hotmail account. I think this is more geared for work accounts. So, interesting to see that they're releasing this feature. I think it's great for certain scenarios if you're working in a warehouse, or, if someone's, if you use Teams, you can say, hey, grab this from the warehouse, or, etc. But it's great to see that they've extended that to all of the devices, because it was only to Android. Walkie-talkie features, is that something that's useful to use? I'm sure it is when it comes to events, etc. So great to see that they're bringing that to all of the devices, and cool to see. Now I'm going to go to Apple. I've not spoken about Apple besides Apple Music earlier on. I was talking about the VR and AR headset that everybody says that they're working on. They're definitely looking into that space. However, they are saying, or there's rumors saying, that there are challenges that they're facing when it comes to overheating. So these headsets are overheating, cameras aren't working, there might be issues with the software. It is still fairly early days, and the launch may not happen until 2023 next year. So it's not going to happen this year, it's going to happen next year. Now, what are my views on this? I still believe AR and VR is still very early days, and we've seen AR, VR come, it's flopped, we see it go, and then somebody takes another stab at it again. If we keep at it, maybe this might stick, it might not. At this moment of time, I cannot see where this is going to go. If it's going to be positive, if VR and AI are here to stay. I still think AR is the way to go, where you can see everything around you, and you can look at an item, and when you're looking at it, information overlays on the item that you're looking at. I still think that's better than VR, but I still think AR needs a lot of work. VR is basically you're immersed in a different world. So everything's virtual around you. So, Apple's delayed. I'm not really surprised about that. I think Apple want to make sure that they get it right. Overheating is one of the things that they want to avoid. We saw that with their wireless charging mat. I've forgotten the name of it now, but that overheated. That product flopped because of it all. It didn't flop. It didn't come out essentially. Apple definitely, if they are putting a lot of resources behind this, they'll definitely work on it. Talking about Apple's charging products and this power mat that failed, there are rumors that they have still been working on it behind the scenes, and we may get a surprise announcement. I'm not too sure where I got that rumor, but there's something that I've heard and something that I've seen suggesting that they're still working on it. So I'm not going to rule that out yet. It's a shame because I thought it was a great idea. But let's see the space. But the AR and VR area is being delayed. Keeping on that theme of Apple, Apple are now going to let dating apps in the Netherlands have third-party payment options. Now, this is a strange one. Apple had a lawsuit with Epic Games over Fortnite. By the way, I'm going to mention Fortnite in a second. But they're going to allow dating apps to charge separately outside of the App Store. And this is only in the Netherlands. So, and this is just to follow their regulations in that country. Now, I don't know what this means. Does it mean things change for Apple? Unsure. It was a massive spat between the makers of Fortnite and Apple, hence why Fortnite was taken off the App Store. However, the game streaming service, GeForce Now, has Fortnite on its store so that you can now play Fortnite on your Apple device through GeForce. So there are ways around how they're doing this, but interesting to see that Apple are abiding by the law there. They have to, and that third-party payments are allowed in the app. And Apple are not a fan of that. They like to control their ecosystem a lot more, how money gets transferred. So definitely interesting to see in that space. Now talking about mobile phones, Google. If you own a Google Pixel 6. I have one here. They are now rolling out their latest update, the January update. The December update was paused because it had a lot of issues. Calls were dropping, Wi-Fi was poor, loads of issues with an update. Hence why I said earlier on, sometimes it can go wrong, but they'll stop it, they'll fix it and re-release it. So if you own a Pixel 6 and a Pixel 5, because my wife has a Pixel 5, they've had an update on that as well. Run the updates. It's been tested heavily this time round. Everything that should be working is working. So this is for all the Pixel users out there, that there is an update rolling out, and it's rolling out right now. And staying on the theme of Google, I'm trying to do a better job of bunching these together in the right way. Google TV are now looking into exploring fitness, smart home controls, and other features on their Google TV kind of dongle. It's a new dongle that they released, I think it was 2 years ago now, and there's a few things that it was missing. You couldn't do Stadia on there if you got the game streaming service. You couldn't do home control. I didn't know that. But to have these kind of features is cool. I hope that goes out to other TVs that run Android TV, which is what my Sony uses, the Android, where you can control your lights and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. A central location whilst you're watching a movie, dim the lights as you're watching a movie or a TV show. But definitely there'll be updates. So again, talking very much about updates, there are more updates. It looks like Google are hammering down on their updates, and we'll see something soon. And in the UK, a big announcement is that Google are going to spend £730 million, which I think is roughly $1 billion, to get their UK offices back up. And I think it's more so to get people back into the offices, maybe. Things in the UK are interesting, to say the least. For me, I think we're going to push for normality here. Again, I doubt they're going to force it, but if you give the incentive for people to go into the offices, that's great. They did spend a lot of money building these offices, and maybe it's just to say, hey, look, we spent this money. We want to be able to get people back, and they want to get people feeling comfortable. Maybe they've redone the offices where people feel a lot more comfortable with a lot more space. Not too sure, but like I said, they really have spent a lot of money. They already spent building it. They're putting in another $1 billion to really make that office worthwhile going to for their employees. Talking about Wi-Fi, I was talking about Wi-Fi 6, which I think is an amazing Wi-Fi standard. Wi-Fi 6E, which is a slightly stronger standard, and like I said, it can't penetrate walls as much, etc. But if you're a fan of Eero products for their Wi-Fi mesh system, Eero may be soon launching a Wi-Fi 6E networking system. Again, as a consumer, if you're looking to update your Wi-Fi, I would say just stick with the 6 unless you're a proper tech nerd. I think Wi-Fi 6 is good enough. 6E just gives you more. But like I said, 6E is one of those things where you need to be next to your wireless receiver to really see the benefits of really good signal and fast Wi-Fi speed. So, and like I said, if you ever have any questions, do reach out to me. I'll give more details in the description, in the YouTube videos, as well as the podcast that you're listening to, on how to contact me or message me. If you've got any questions or things you want me to cover, etc. Like I said, I'll make sure that I will do that for you all. One thing that caught me out by surprise, and I didn't know this, or maybe I forgot, but I'm going to go in the camp of I did not know this at all. Twitter has agreed to Nigeria's demands to end a 7-month ban of Twitter, basically. I had no idea that Twitter was banned in Nigeria. I didn't know it nearly happened for a year. So Twitter is now back in Nigeria, so people can now tweet away. But yeah, something that really did catch me off guard. I did not know this, and very interesting to know. So one of those random tidbit news that Twitter has agreed to some demands, and Twitter is now going to be available in Nigeria. Other things, if you're an Instagram fan, I don't use Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or anything of the sort. I'm going through a proper digital detox. Is that Kylie Jenner is the first woman to have 300 million viewers on Instagram, or followers, I should say. I don't know why that's a big thing. I don't really use Instagram. But yeah, basically 300 million Instagram followers. I guess that's a massive achievement for her. For anybody that knows more about Instagram than I do, then please do poke me. It's just one of those things where you look at pictures. I don't really care. But hey, it's one of those things. So 300 million followers. I think they're saying Ronaldo has more by 388 million on Instagram. But it's an achievement and a great achievement. So, well done to Kylie Jenner for becoming the first ever woman with 300 million Instagram followers. I'm not going to be one of them. I'm not going to lie. Right, so the next thing is there's something called the dark net where, a lot of illegal things happen, or they call it the dark web or whatever they want to call it. Some good news on that front, which is the largest darknet stolen credit card site where your credit card numbers or, all of those details are leaked, either from a hack elsewhere or anything. It's now gone, which is the largest one. So great news for anybody out there that is conscious about stuff like this and security, and this is definitely big news. So yeah, it seems like that things are closing down, things are becoming a little bit safer. It might not be becoming safer. There might be something else that spins up. I cannot say, but in terms of security, in terms of your personal information, that's a big thing. So something to be definitely happy about in that space. And the last thing is this spat between Russia and Ukraine. Now, I'm not really going to go into politics, but the one thing that I will say is that there seems to be more things that are happening digitally. So, they're saying that Russia took down the government websites. And one of the things that I'm finding very interesting is that instead of it being more, and we can't say Russia did it or not, I'm not in that position, but the one thing that I'm noticing is more of the things that are happening are more digitally based than physically based. So that is a shift of the digital world, because we're relying more on digital information. How we do our work is more digitized. So that's definitely an interesting part there. Now, I'm now coming to the end of my podcast. I have no idea how long I've been talking for. I think it's just gone over the half an hour mark. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for listening to my podcast or watching the video. I really appreciate it. And like I said, thank you for your comments. I would love to hear more from you all with feedback, be it positive or negative. I am making this for all of you out there. And like I said, it gives me an opportunity to learn and gives you all an opportunity to learn. And, I want to make this for you all out there. I will put my email to contact me on in regards to the podcast at the bottom of the actual description. So please do feel free to reach out. But I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll see what next week holds. And like I said, I will hold special events from time to time with special things that are happening, like Samsung's event, or I might want to interview someone or bring a friend along and give their views and opinions. But I just wanted to say thank you to you all for this, and I'll chat to you all soon. Have a great week ahead of you, and yeah, take care, everybody. Bye.